It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It is. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. From Tim and Veronica, our ministry is called Crack Clay, helping couples build an affair-proof marriage God's way. Intimacy, money, not having our emotional needs met are some of the biggest reasons why couples, even Christian couples, have an affair. Because it's easier for the devil to get his foot inside that marriage and justify sin. Just like Phil Donahue said back in my day, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? That's how it all begins. The devil says it. Just like he told Eve, what's wrong with that? Surely that can't be true. Then we start justifying sin. And then when we start doing sin, it escalates. We think we're in utopia. We think this is awesome. We're not thinking with our mind. We're not thinking with godly mind. We're thinking from the flesh. Because you know what? Even having an affair, it all comes around circles in 4 or 5 years. Do the same thing all over again. Because you don't do it God's way. You do it man's way. Tonight, in our series
So, the working side of sex, which we were starting last week, because we were talking about the Married Guy's Guide to Good Sex from the Penners is what we've been working on. So the working side of sex, let me just briefly tell you what we were going to talk about last week.
No, we're going to go back.
So I'm going to talk about in the intro to it.
Okay.
That sex is supposed to be fun. It is. And in fact, the pleasure, and that's why God made it to give you pleasure, right?
He made it for married people.
He made it, it gives you pleasure, certainly. But it also takes work. And spirituality or sex between a husband and wife symbolizes the most important relationship, the one between Christ and his people. Sex reflects the depth of commitment that grows in a relationship. It asks complete abandonment and vulnerability. Serious feelings get stirred up in the process of being sexual. Sexual rights within marriage demand serious respect. And sexual responsibility is a serious requirement of every believer. So some people we do get some criticism from some people for talking about sex, and
because we're trying to keep marriages strong.
But right here, it is the requirement of every believer to take this seriously, and it is a reflection of Christ's relationship with the church. So that is why we talk about it, because it is very important in marriage.
And the Bible talks about it.
And the Bible talks about it.
1 Corinthians 7. Stop depriving each other. Stop it.
You should only do that in agreement.
You just do that in a time
of fasting and prayer. That's
because what's going to happen? The devil's going to get in there and tempt you. We've seen it time and time and again. We hear a lot from couples, and this is why we talk about it.
Right.
We're straight up with it, and it's a little late, so this is a good time.
So this is why we're late today, because I was in Richmond today. Tim was actually sick this morning, so he stayed home. He's been taking medicine.
We're back in the swing. We're back in the swing. I've been on drugs, but I'm feeling so much better. Good drugs. Over-the-counter drugs.
Over-the-counter, not illegal.
Okay.
All right.
Baby. So
there's 10 good ways to work at sex.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
10 good ways to work at sex.
But tonight we're going to talk about
I'll just, number one,
shopping
we were
sex.
supposed to do last week was thinking about what you're doing. Well, I'll just go ahead and do it. Okay, thinking about your sex life. Talk to your wife, talk to your husband about your sex life. Ask them what their feelings and opinions are on your sex life. Just don't make assumptions that everything's groovy when you haven't actually had a discussion, because everything might not be groovy. Right? Number 2, plan to have sex with your spouse. And people say that, oh, that's boring, that's horrible to have to take time to plan it, but it's not actually. I needed it like that. But it's not actually. You know what happens? Remember when you were dating? Remember when you were dating and you had that anticipation of seeing each other all day long because you knew you were going out that night? And you planned it. You planned the date, and it made it fun and exciting. The date was even better.
And you get so frustrated we can't go any further because you didn't want to.
But you can when you're married. So it's actually fun to plan it if you think about it in those terms. Then if you know all day you're going to get lucky tonight, then you're expecting it and you can build up and it's fun.
Talk about it.
And for women,
go ahead.
And for a woman, they need a longer time to prepare mentally that they're going to be having it. So it's better for everybody. It gives her the time to prepare also. And you can Okay, and then that was it. Number 3 was
Number
schedule. Number 3 was actually scheduling. I jumped ahead. Number 2, planning, was talking about the mechanics of your sex life. So
What's that mean?
the mechanics, taking turns preparing the sexual setting, allowing for periods of longer periods of pleasure and increased intensity for your wife. Setting aside an hour at bedtime several nights a week just to enjoy each other's bodies without any demand for arousal or release. Reading a chapter in a book like this, talking about together at least once a week. Building that 15-minute connection that we talk about all the time. That 15 minutes a day, building that into your routine of looking each other in the eyes, talking to each other, kissing each other, cuddling, having that time together. Okay, and then number 3 was schedule, which I already covered. All right.
So shopping.
Number 4.
What does shopping have to do with intimacy or sex? Well, if you shop for your wife, she's really going to think what? That you deeply care for her. Shopping with her, shopping when she's not around, bring her surprises. Doesn't have to be a Mercedes, but anything, let her know that you're thinking of her and you're caring for her. You're putting time in for her. I'm not watching the Browns today. Of course, they're lost and out of the playoffs. Of course, I'd go shop with her today. But that's not the reason. Prioritize. Put your wife first. Boy, she's going to reciprocate that. She's going to love that. So that's really important.
And you're really good at that. You know that sometimes I come home but even small things, like sometimes I come home and I'll go to bed at night and there's a card underneath my pillow or underneath the covers where I'm going to pull back the covers. He's left a card for me just to say he loves me. Or
think about it.
The little things. Even like for me, when you go to the store, buy me bananas, right? Because that's my favorite thing.
And the reason I get bananas all the time is I forgot it once.
Was it once?
I forgot them. I forgot the bananas once, and every time now I didn't know she had bananas at home, but I buy them anyway. You would think a monkey lives here. I mean, we got so many bananas.
Think of that.
We got bananas. Number 2.
So it doesn't have to be an expensive thing. You don't have to go out and buy a brand new car, but also you need to remember your anniversary. That's very
always
important.
Remember, just like that, just like bananas. The best way to remember anniversary is to forget it once. You got to remember Valentine's Day, anniversary, birthday, Christmas. Mom, if she's a mother, Mother's Day. All that's so important for your sweetie. Men, you got to be proactive. You got to do your homework and do it. She loves it. Feed on. Just grow that love. Grow that love, okay? Do everything you can to grow it.
So you
and
can't,
she's going to love it.
And we're not saying you can't actually buy sex or love, but your wife must first experience. What you're doing is letting her know that you care about her. Right. And she's experiencing your caring and your thoughtfulness, and that's going to make her reciprocate your need for sex. I mean, she's going to then be more willing to play at night when the kids go to bed if you are taking care of her. And she's feeling loved and cared for.
Amen. Here's another way that's really important for my wife. Talk, communicate. Mm-hmm. I just did a post. Some men just want to have sex. I talked about it. Women will have sex, talk about it, have sex, talk about it. Why is that, sweetheart?
Because we're verbal.
Okay.
Okay, so a woman prefers to have her husband talk about his delight in her.
Okay.
Not just in her.
Not just the sexual act.
Not just the sexual parts.
Or physically, but
not just the physical parts. Okay. But she wants to have you talk. She wants to know that you care about her and that you're attracted to her as a person, not just her female parts.
Right.
And she wants you to be interested in her. Mm-hmm. Every time you make a move in her direction, both of you benefit. So you're happy as she's happy. It's a win-win situation. So what they say, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy, right?
Happy spouse, happy house.
Right.
Go ahead.
So it's good. I mean, and talking, and everybody has
all day except for church.
And everybody has different ideas of what is exciting to them and what's acceptable during lovemaking, and it's good to talk about those things because you don't know.
If he doesn't kiss right, Talk about it.
Well, and does your partner like you to talk during it or not talk during it? Everybody has a different preference, so it's good to talk about
Communicate. That's important.
And so talking about your sex life, talking that analyzes your sex life, though vital though it is, should happen apart from the sexual experience. So do not do it in the bedroom. I mean, while you're having sex or right before or right after. Talk about it at some other time. And it shouldn't just be about like difficulties or things you have to complain about, but it should also be about things that you like, and so that your spouse can keep doing those things that you like, or they can know what you like, so that they can get on board with what you like. An interesting little thing they talked about is they did a series.
Yes, listen to this.
They did a 2-week series.
Divorce court. Go ahead. Yeah.
Called Pure and Simple Sex for a Los Angeles television station. This is really interesting. The producers asked people coming out of divorce court, how much did sex have to do with your divorce? Husbands reported that sex had nothing to do with it. Wives reported that sex had much to do with it. So clearly these people were not communicating about their sex lives, right?
Right.
And how essential it is to them. And how important, so that just shows how important it is to talk about that stuff.
So that's what Crap Play is all about, guys. Before we see you next week, something huge is going to happen next Saturday. Liberty Flames are going to be in their first bowl game.
First ever bowl game.
First bowl game. And Jesus, thank you. We're going to be one of the sponsors, correct?
Yes.
One of the sponsors. It's called the Cure Bowl in Orlando, Florida. It's going to be on CBS Sports at 2:30. Go Flames. Go Flames. We're so excited about it. We're so excited about it. And we're just so happy to be living here. And I think in this university, which is raising champions for Christ, based from Thomas Road Baptist Church and a wonderful high school they have, this place has over 100,000 students online and on campus, raising champions for Christ.
It's amazing.
It's awesome. If you ever come to Lynchburg, please call me. Let me know you're coming. I would love to get together with you and talk Flames and Jesus. Last night, the Flames went to Nashville, Tennessee, and beat Bandy. And Big Jim was there.
Basketball.
Awesome Jim. Mm-hmm. In basketball, we're undefeated, but it's just so awesome.
11-0.
It's just so awesome.
So we're like so excited to be here and be sponsored. Sounds sponsors our company, our hearing aid company.
And next week we're giving away 2 free hearing aids. We're giving right. That's happening Friday.
Yes,
2 free hearing aids Friday.
And
less fortunate.
Wednesday is the last day to submit.
And a lot of people are
on our
signing
website.
Up. Wonderful stories.
SoundsLynchburg.com.
Wish we could do them all.
Yes. So if you're in the area, know somebody, go online and submit. We'll have Santa Claus doing a drawing on Friday.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a blast. Guys, it's Christmas time. It's a wonderful time of the year. Remember? Plan that adventure with your wife. Plan an adventure. Maybe January's a good time.
And you know what, moms? I just want to talk to the mothers for a minute. The wives and the moms.
Yeah.
Do you know, I mean, really everybody, it is so important to still have that date night and to still have that time to connect with your spouse. Right. Because this is the hardest time of the year for us to do that. I mean, and I'm sure it is for everybody. It's a busy time of the year, isn't it? You're so busy doing all the preparations for Christmas, and you're shopping and you're cooking and you've got parties and you've got responsibilities and if you've got kids,
Christmas movies.
If you got kids, you're taxiing them here and there and everywhere, and it's a busy time of the year. But it is so important to still make time for your marriage and to have that date night, to be intentional about your marriage. Don't let that suffer. Don't let your marriage suffer. There's no excuse for that. As busy as life gets, you have to take that time out and have time for your marriage.
1 Corinthians 7 says, I just mentioned a little bit ago, don't deprive each other. If you do, don't do it long. Come back together. Be with each other. Because Satan is going to tempt you. Don't let Satan tempt this marriage that God put together. Do it His way. Greater is He that's in me than the devil is in the world. The same power that rose Jesus from the dead is in me because I'm a Christian. He's living in me. How my priorities changed when I said yes to him 13 years ago. We love you guys.
Okay, so next week we're going to do 6 through 10 on the 10 ways to work on sex. All right?
Okay. Thanks, baby.
Have a
Welcome
great week.
home. I missed you,
I
Pumpkin.
missed you too, baby. Have a great week.
Love
Bye.
you guys. Jesus loves you. He wants a relationship with you.